Man, what's good? I'm about to get into this Super Bowl 59 reaction, man. Eagles beat the Chiefs. What was the score? What was the even score? What was it, like 40-22 or some shit? Let me make sure I get the exact score. The Chiefs got their ass beat. That's basically the score. 40-22. That's what it was. It's not even that close. It didn't seem that close. Um, why did the Eagles beat the Chiefs, man? Why did they beat the Chiefs? That defensive line took over the game. Man, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, and Hunt, they all had a little sack party, man. With Josh having 2.5 sacks, right? They forced Pat Mahomes to 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, a fumble. He wasn't comfortable. He wasn't comfortable. We ain't seen him like this. Even against Tampa Bay, he seemed like against Tampa Bay, they lost the game, but Pat Mahomes, other than Tom Brady anyway, looked like the best player on the field, and he was just running for his life. This game, he didn't even look comfortable running for his life. He had a few rushes, but his feet was too happy. He's never been like this. And the Eagles rattled Pat. The Eagles rattled Pat, man. Um, and this helped the Eagles' offense. They had some good field possession on one of those touchdowns, maybe a couple of those touchdowns. Pat threw a pick six, right? So um, at one point it's 17-0 after that pick six, right? So like even it was 10-0. We've seen this before. What's that? What's my man's name? Nick Wright tweeted, and this was his last tweet before it was really over. He said, "We done seen the Chiefs lose every Super Bowl they win. They lose. They start off losing 10-0, and at this point, it's like okay, the Chiefs could still come back. But when Pat Mahomes throws that pick six, it's like, oh hell no. But even then, them getting the ball at half, there was still a glimmer of hope because all they had to do was score, stop them, get the ball at half, score again, and it would have been a 14-17 game. But no, they 3 and out. The Eagles 3 and out, and then Pat throws another pick. Eagles scored another touchdown. 24-0. And by that point, it was like, yeah, I don't see them. I don't see how it's gonna come back. You know what I mean? I don't see how they were going. They after that point, they really lost control, and it was too late for them. Jalen Hurts, even early in the game, that shot to AJ Brown, that I think it got overturned, right? It was like, did they say was it pass interference on AJ Brown, on that 4th and 2, right? Pretty sure that's what happened. From that moment, it was like, okay, Jalen he's ready to play, and that's how he has to play in order to win this game. Saquon, I think he averaged like 2.7 yards per carry. That's one thing the Chiefs did well is they slowed the running game down. As far as Saquon goes, they had no answer for Jalen Hurts though. Jalen Hurts, they did some design QB runs, but Jalen Hurts really hurt them when he was improvising and off of the passing plays. Jalen Hurts played just about as good as he played. He played as good as he played the first time they played in the Super Bowl. The difference is that defense, their Eagles defense was just, I don't know how great. I mean, and this Eagles team, great. You know what I'm saying? From the offensive line, best offensive line in the league. Looked like the best defensive line in the league. Best running back in the league. Top 5 QB. 2 Devontae and AJ looking like 2 number ones. Goddard, he didn't really do much, but he's a very solid tight end. This roster is very good. Their DBs are solid. This roster is very good, and they probably gonna be good for a while if they could keep this core going, right? This is his second Super Bowl appearance in 4 years. I expect the next 4 years they'll be here a few more times. The NFC, you know, the Lions ain't really showing nothing. The 49ers might bounce back. Who else? The Rams, maybe the Packers could come out of nowhere. Washington, they got a lot of work to do, but I don't see nobody. If the Eagles can keep their core, that defensive line, this offensive line, Saquon for a few more years, and Jalen, and make sure they keep weapons around Jalen, this Eagles team's gonna be in the Super Bowl again, man. This was very impressive. I did have the Chiefs winning because Pat Mahomes has never played like he did last night. And I was expecting him to figure out how to win, but it's actually good that they lost this game at the end of this season. I feel like they only had one first down in the first half, and the Chiefs defense was playing good. They were playing good enough to win. That pick six makes this game. It makes this game a lot farther than it would have been had the Chiefs offense scored some points. If he doesn't throw a pick six and they even get a field goal, it's 10-3. It's still, you get what I'm saying? The pick six and then the 3-and-out right after let me know that, yeah, this game is in control of Philly. No first downs, 14 yards. They couldn't run the ball. Pat Mahomes couldn't throw it. They didn't run the ball because they couldn't run the ball because they were down, right? So, and once you see Pat under duress like that, it was like, yeah. It was like, yeah. But still, it's Pat Mahomes. Maybe he'll get going. Maybe they'll figure it out. Andy Reid, he's gonna figure it out. And DeAndre Hopkins, wide open on a play, drops it. Travis Kelce, he might be hanging it up, and maybe he doesn't. Maybe he comes back with a vengeance. But he's all year hasn't been the Travis Kelce that we used to. He's definitely out of his prime now. The Chiefs have been talking this game of, oh yeah, in the regular season we be practicing. In the regular season we be joking around. In the regular season we be trying shit. Don't work, but we still win. You know what I'm saying? But when we get to the playoffs, though, that's when we really turn it on. That's what they've been saying. And this is why I say this is a good way for them to lose, because it's a wake-up call for them. No more of this losing to teams you ain't supposed to in the regular season, even though they only got one loss in the regular season this year. No more of this, every game being a game you should have lost, but you won. They got to start from training camp and play like it's the playoffs, like everybody else does. You know what I'm saying? They done got off. They done got they 2-3 Super Bowls and I don't think they always had that mentality. I think they more recently got that mentality after they win a few. You win a couple, and then you come out in the regular season and you got confidence, so you don't take it as serious, and then you get to the playoffs and you still one of the best teams. Now their team is brought down to earth a little bit. And it's like, yeah, no, y'all gonna have to make some roster adjustment. Y'all gonna have to figure out the running back position. You might really have to find you a running back like the rest of everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? You really need to make sure you have a number one receiver. Travis Kelce, if he's gonna be him, or you gonna find another tight end. The DBs are gonna have to, because they got the defensive backs. They got beat last night, and Jalen Hurts played great. Decision making, dots. He had that one interception. DBs got exposed last night. Defensive line, no pressure. Jalen Hurts was comfortable, no pressure. You know what I'm saying? He looked. I made a tweet yesterday, and I said, Tom Brady had that video about I would show up to the line of scrimmage every play, and I would know exactly what the defense was running. And I quoted that video, whatever, and I said, the quarterback that does this the best will win their team a Super Bowl. And that's exactly what happened last night. That's exactly what happened last night. Jalen Hurts showed up, and it looked like he knew what was going on every fucking play. And his offensive line protected him. Pat Mahome showed up to the line of scrimmage, and he hiked the ball, and he did not know what the fuck to do. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know where to go. And not only was his offensive line not protecting him, a few of the times the offensive line was getting in his way. They didn't know where he was, let alone where the nigga that they was the nigga they was supposed to block was getting in the way. They didn't know where their own quarterback was at times. You get what I'm saying? So he had no time, and he didn't know where to go. And they, I don't know, Andy Reid, I don't know. This was an ass whooping on all facets of the game. Andy Reid got out coached by Sirianni, right? Kellen Moore out coached Spags last night. I wasn't expecting that, and that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? I was going for the Chiefs for a lot of reasons. Wasn't because of roster talent. I knew the Eagles had roster talent, but I expected Spags and Andy Reid to outcoach those Eagles coaches. I expected Pat Mahomes to play 10% better than Jalen Hurts, and I was surprised. But I was very impressed. I wish the game was better, of course, but I moments like this, is very important. It's gonna make the NFL a little bit more interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because now Lamar, Josh, Joe Burrow, they see it now. Joe Burrow beat Pat Mahomes, but it was a while ago, right? It's been a minute since Pat Mahomes lost in the playoffs. Now these guys can say, oh, it can be done. It can be done. And this is how it will have to look, more than likely. Not necessarily a blowout, but your defense is going to have to rattle him. If he's comfortable in the pocket, it's going to be a tall task. But if you can get to Pat Mahomes in moments, then we see that it's possible for him to be beat. Now let me get to these quarterbacks and talk about legacy. I'll start with Jalen. Top 5 QB in the league, man. Top 5 QB in the league. He's been under the radar. And I think part of it is because of last year. How Eagles didn't make the playoffs last year, right? No, they didn't. They were hurt. They didn't make the playoffs last year. He didn't play the best. And I still think he's a QB that has to have a lot of things in order to win. He's a good passer. He's just, when you look at the rest of the league, like other quarterbacks are better from the pocket, but he doesn't have to. Like the running aspect adds to him. I don't think it's a con. It's just he's a different type of quarterback. We got to stop saying, oh, this quarterback can't run. He can't throw from the pocket as good as such and such. So such and such is a better quarterback. No, such and such has to be good in the pocket because they can't do shit out of the pocket. Jalen Hurts can get out of the pocket and create a running game. So he doesn't necessarily have to be great or as great, because last night showed you against a very good defense, he can make decisions and ball placement. The ball placement last night was great. The decision making he made was great. He didn't have to put the ball in jeopardy because, oh, I got my legs and they don't have anybody spying me. So I'm taking off in the middle of the line of scrimmage and rushing for a first down. He's a top 5 quarterback. It doesn't look like Mahomes. It doesn't look like Burrow, but he's still a top 5 quarterback. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't even look like Lamar. They're different. They both run the ball and they both throw the ball, but it's so he's a unique player, and this is a player that you can win a Super Bowl with. He's a top 5 quarterback and they got it done. You know what I'm saying? So I think respect will be on his name going forward. But just because you're a top 5 quarterback don't mean you're going to win the game. Don't mean you're going to win a Super Bowl. Don't mean you're going to win the playoffs. And we've seen that with Pat Mahomes. And that's where I'll go with this. This is a stain on his legacy. This reminds me of Peyton Manning losing to the Seahawks. People, if he would have won this game, people were going to say he still wasn't going to touch Brady. But now this makes those people even more solidified. GOAT talks are very annoying because people in when you think about the Olympics, right? If you in the Olympics, getting a silver medal is better than finishing 6th. But when it comes to GOAT talk in NBA and in the NFL, you losing in the finals or you losing in the Super Bowl is worse than you not making the playoffs. Right? Now, if you look at Pat Mahomes' stat line, I think he had 3 touchdowns. He ended up with 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. This isn't a good game. But him losing this game in the Super Bowl is going to make people say, Tom Brady never lost by 18 points in the Super Bowl. My only thing is Brady didn't get to the Super Bowl this often either. Instead of losing in the Super Bowl, he lost in the regular season and didn't make the playoffs. Instead of losing in the Super Bowl, he lost in the first round and got his ass beat in the first round. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, there ain't nothing you can do really in these GOAT conversations. Logic is out the window with a lot of people. To me, he's still in the GOAT conversation. But and I ain't gonna lie, I was somebody who, after they won the Super Bowl last year, I'm already calling him better than Tom Brady. I think he's better than Tom Brady. I think he's better. He's a better talent than Tom Brady. He ain't. We can't call him the greatest right now, though. That's for sure. But I think it's possible. But I think this is a wake up call that all of them had to get. You know what I'm saying? Even Brady, like I said, Brady first 7 years in the league, he didn't make the playoffs a few times. You get what I'm saying? The thing Brady had, though, was nobody was necessarily calling him. Nobody was having GOAT talk like we're having now. They didn't really start calling Brady the greatest until like really when they won the third one. And it was like once that undefeated season started coming about, then it was like, oh yeah, this is the greatest. He's the best of all time. Da, 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 da. Pat Mahomes, GOAT talk has become a thing that's so prevalent in sports society that now, as soon as you're good, we're asking how good, and we're not just are you the best in the league, but are you the best of all time? As soon as you win a couple MVPs, as soon as people start talking about you amongst your peers, they start grading you amongst everybody that ever played the sport, right? So I think Pat Mahomes, what he got? 3 Super Bowls. He's already better than most quarterbacks. The only person he is chasing is Brady and Montana right now. And it's going to be hard. He needed to win this one to make it. He needed to make it this one to make it easier on himself on the back half. If he's going to, Brady got 7 Super Bowls, right? If he's going to win 5 more Super Bowls, he's going to have to play for a while. And he's going to have to make a lot of them. He might lose more to do it, but he might lose more Super Bowls. I don't know if he'll lose more. He probably will lose more than Tom Brady. But the Kansas City has to be very good in order for him to win 5 Super Bowls. You get what I'm saying? 5 more. And to certain people, he'll never win enough to be better than Brady. Just like to some people, LeBron will never win. LeBron could win 4 championships in a row, and they'll say LeBron is never going to be greater than Michael Jordan. There's some people that's just there. There's nothing that these players can do for certain people. Nobody's ever going to be better than Tom Brady, and nobody's ever going to be better than Jordan. And there's nothing you can do. When you have logical conversations with these people, they're going to move the goalposts, and it's cool. Like it's fun, right? So, but yeah, man, ain't nothing wrong with him being the second greatest quarterback of all time. Man. Tom Brady's the GOAT. You can't really, at the end of the day, man, when it mattered in the Super Bowl, he lost though. It's not like he didn't lose to this Eagles organization, right? That's one thing they both got in common. They done lost to the. It's just Tom Brady lost to the Eagles in a shootout. Tom Brady never got his ass beat, but I want to say you can't even blame it. You can't even blame this on the defense. So I think what was the score of the Super Bowl when Pat Mahomes and the Eagles played the first time? I think they both scored 30 points. If the offense, and this is really more praise to the Eagles than it is knocking the Chiefs offense. The Chiefs offense needs work. It does. It needs work. And this Eagles defense is dominant. And not only are they dominant, they played the best in the playoffs. Just like Ohio State. Just like Ohio State. And that's what makes the college football playoff so good is if you could get in, it don't matter how you played in the regular season. And this is how the Chiefs have been thinking. It's just they didn't turn it on. The Eagles showed glimpses of greatness throughout the regular season. In the beginning of the season, it was looking a little rocky. Not rocky, but it didn't look like it did now. And then in the middle of the season, they really turned it up and they showed glimpses of this. But then they got to the playoffs, and that defense, what they did to Washington was like, oh shit. And this is crazy. And then you see what they did again to the defending champs. They knocked them out. So yeah, man, that's my reaction to the Super Bowl, man. NFL season, man. It's gonna be interesting this year. It's gonna be interesting this year. Hopefully these Eagles can still be good, man. We gonna see.